We are ready to start our ELA lesson for today. Please join me on Seesaw. Please click Activities, Assign to Class folder, Red ELA. We know that we've been learning all about different climate regions, and we know that we live in a temperate region. Today, our task is going to be exploring the weather patterns we have in a temperate region. Our task today is called Weather Patterns in a Temperate Region. Please click Add Response. You may click on slide number 2. On slide number 2, you will see a map of the United States. In our country, most of our country is a temperate climate. We have looked at maps before that explain this to us. Most of our country is a temperate climate. Today, we're going to look at a place called Kentucky. You can see it in red on the map. Kentucky is just south of Indiana. Indiana is what I'm coloring yellow. So if you notice that Indiana and Kentucky are neighbors. In our country, they are right next to each other. Today, we're going to take a look at what the weather patterns are like in Kentucky as an example of a temperate climate. So the first thing we're going to do is click on the purple link. It says Spring in Kentucky. We know that in a temperate region, in a temperate climate, we have 4 seasons. Kentucky is also in a temperate climate because it's right next to us. Let's click on the purple to see what spring is like in Kentucky. All right, I see lots of images of what the vegetation and weather looks like in spring in Kentucky. I notice lots of green. I notice lots of trees. I notice images of flowers that are blooming. I notice pictures with the sun shining. I also notice that there are some clouds in the sky. Kentucky is an example of a place in a temperate region. And we know that temperate regions can have 4 seasons. One of them is spring. I'm going to close the tab and go back to our Seesaw page 2. We have just explored what spring looks like in a temperate region. Next, let's click on the red link. We know that temperate regions can have summer. Temperate regions have hot summers and cold winters. So let's click on the red summer link and see some pictures of what summer might look like in Kentucky. I notice there are still flowers blooming, lots of green. You know that vegetation means plant life. I notice sun shining. Looks like people are able to do things outside in the summer in a temperate region because it's warm. Go ahead and close the tab. We have just explored summer in a temperate region. Next, go ahead and click on the orange, fall in Kentucky. Let's see what the fall season is like in a temperate climate. I see pictures that remind me of Indianapolis. In a temperate climate, we have 4 seasons. In fall, I notice that the leaves start to change. There's lots of orange, yellow, red. I still notice some green vegetation. I also notice the skies look a little more cloudy, not as sunny. Now we have explored fall in a temperate climate. Plug in your headphones, please. Our last season is winter. We know in a temperate climate, we have 4 seasons. Let's click on the blue link to see what winter looks like in a temperate place. Yep, this seems about right. We know we have snow right now in our region. So Kentucky is right next to Indiana. I'm seeing that they get lots of snow in the winter. I notice the sky is gray. There's not as much sunshine in the sky, lots of clouds. Sometimes we have sunny days, but in our temperate climate, we have a lot of cloudy days. We have now explored all 4 seasons in a temperate region. Remember, Kentucky is an example of a temperate region. Most of our country is a temperate region, including Indiana, where we live. All right, we have just explored the 4 seasons together. We have done some reading about why we have 4 seasons, and it's all about how the earth is tilted from the sun. That creates 4 different seasons. Please click on slide number 4. Slide number 4 shows our text for today. One of the texts we're going to read. We are reading today about a temperate climate, just like we explored 4 seasons. Another example of a temperate climate is grasslands. In our country, we have areas that are called grasslands. I want you to take 1 minute and read this quietly to yourself. Read the text for 1 minute. Ready, go. Thank you for taking 1 minute to read to yourself. A grassland is an example of a temperate climate. If you look at the map, check out this text feature. I'm drawing an arrow to North America where we live, and I'm going to circle the United States. We know that the United States, our country, is a temperate climate. This map is showing where grasslands are, and I notice that there is some green in our country. That's because a grassland is an example of a place you would see in a temperate climate. Look at the world map. Look at how many areas do not have grasslands. There's lots of blue areas that do not have grasslands. So we are one of the places that have grasslands. We're not the only place. Over here, there's lots of grasslands in Africa, lots of grasslands in Asia, and some grasslands in South America. Today, we're going to focus on the temperate region and what type of weather patterns we have there. Please click on slide number 5. Slide number 5 gives you directions for today's work. With a partner, you are going to read the questions and the text on slides 6 and 7. You're going to answer the questions in a complete sentence using evidence from the text. Don't forget to highlight your evidence in the text. Join me by clicking on slide number 6, please. Remember when we looked up winter in Kentucky? We know that a temperate region can have very cold winters with lots of precipitation. Your first job in your breakout room is to read this page, page number 6. Think about the question. Look for evidence in your text and type your answer. In your breakout room, you're going to do these steps together. Then we're going to come back and share out the answer to page number 6. On slide number 6, it asks, what kind of clothes would you wear in a temperate climate during the winter? Our text says grasses come and go. Winter brings cold weather and wind. The grass is dry. Snow covers the grass. Bison have thick fur that protects them against the cold. I notice this text feature is helping me understand what's going on. Many grassland animals move to warmer places or hibernate during the winter, but bison and prairie dogs stay on the prairie all winter. And this is a label showing me that these are examples of prairie dogs. Okay, so I'm thinking about what kind of clothes I would wear during the winter. Well, let's find some keywords here. It says bison have thick fur. So I probably need to wear something that's also thick if the animals have to have thick fur. It also says that it brings cold weather and wind. Ooh, so if it's cold in the winter, I probably need to wear a coat or boots, maybe a hat and gloves. Those are examples of clothes I would wear in a temperate climate. So I can type my answer here. I would wear thick clothes, a hat, and gloves. That's an example of what I would wear in a winter in a temperate climate. I found some evidence about thick fur, cold weather, and wind that will make me so cold. Then I can answer the question using as much evidence as possible. And I put it in the answer box. Go ahead and check that you have an answer recorded using some information from the text. Remember, we call this evidence from the text. Let's move on to slide number 7. We know in a temperate climate, there's winter, but there's also spring. Slide number 7 is all about spring. Look at your question. Read your text. Highlight your evidence in the text. and type your answer. That is your job in your breakout room now. All right, on slide number 7, it says name 2 types of flowers that grow during the spring. So in my text, I'm looking for the part about spring and some types of flowers. Our text says, in the spring, melting snow soaks the land. Flowers open. Ooh, okay. I see it's talking about flowers, so I'm getting ready to see if the text tells me what type of flowers. The grasses grow. Rain comes late in spring. I'm going to peek over here and I notice I'm seeing a picture of some rain here. Very cool. All right, I'm going to check out this picture and the caption because text features help us understand. Prairie flowers like, ooh, more information about flowers. Not sorry, put your mask on and sit down, please. We're teaching and you're interrupting as you walk in and talk. Prairie flowers like coneflowers, goldenrods, asters, clovers, blazing stars, and wild indigos grow among the grasses. Ooh, okay, so I'm going to infer that these are types of flowers because it's pointing right at a picture of different kinds of flowers. Here's some white ones, some yellow ones, some purple ones. So right in here, we have some evidence about what type of flowers grow during the spring. So I'm just going to pick 2. I'm going to pick coneflowers and goldenrods. Those are the 2 that I'm going to put in my answer. Let's finish exploring our text. Grasses grow swiftly and many young animals are born. Oh, I noticed a text feature that's helping me understand that as well. Pronghorns are very fast runners. Baby pronghorns can outrun a human. Ooh, that must be so fast. They can outrun a human just a few days after they are born. Oh my. Okay, but I noticed this isn't really about my question. So interesting fact, but I need to focus on my evidence over here. So in my answer, I'm going to say cone flowers and goldenrods. Then I'm going to use words from the question. The question said name 2 types of flowers that grow during spring. So I'm going to say coneflowers and goldenrods grow during spring. Now I have my evidence. I highlighted my evidence and I used it in a complete sentence. My complete sentence has a capital letter. It has a subject and verb. My words make sense and I have complete punctuation. Check that you have a complete sentence recorded using text evidence about the types of flowers that grow. Great job finishing slide number 7 with the teacher. I will be checking that slide number 7 has a complete sentence with text evidence. Your independent task today starts on slide number 8. It says complete slides 9 through 11. Number 9 has another text with a question. You need to highlight some evidence and then type your answer in the box. You have the same skill on slide number 10. Read your text, read the question, highlight evidence in the text, and answer the question in a complete sentence. Slide number 11 is optional. If you want to do this, this is optional, where you are going to explore what the weather is like today in Indianapolis, Indiana, in our temperate climate. So your job is to do slides 9 and 10 during your work time today. Number 11, if you would like to. When you are done, you will put your green check to turn in your work.